Welcome to Brag Radio, which is all about being rich and generous. Every week, your hosts Kandas and best-selling author Larry Goins will show you how to be rich and generous by investing in real estate. Broadcasting around the world on the Brag Radio Network from the flagship station WBT in beautiful uptown Charlotte, here are your hosts, the rock stars of real estate, Kandas and Larry.
Welcome. What's happening?
What's happening to you over there?
I don't know. I'm just getting wound up, getting ready. You know, hey, live on a Saturday afternoon.
So weird.
Just trying to get her done.
So weird.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. This is
You're
Saturday
always excited.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I am. So what have you been up to?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Don't you know?
Pretty much.
You only ask me every 5 minutes, hey, what are you working on? What's going on? What are you doing?
I know.
Can we start this yet? No, we can't.
This is not my water. That's my water. I just opened two.
I wanted this one because it's not. I like the ones that aren't cold. Yeah. Okay. I like room temperature water.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
Causing
didn't drink
problems.
out of that
We've been
one.
here 30 seconds and he's causing problems already.
Sorry.
It's my life. That's what happens.
So, if you're just now joining us or if you haven't listened to the show before, Brag Radio, Be Rich and Generous. We teach you how to invest in real estate, flip houses. You want to be passive. You want to be active investor. We can teach you how because we got some learning, don't we?
We got some learning. And if you're watching the podcast video, then you'll notice this is the shortest you've ever seen Larry's hair before.
I know, right?
Why did you shrink down? What is that about?
I don't know. Whenever I'm shooting videos, I'm always bouncing and doing, whatever.
Anyway.
Moving right along. So, Brag Radio, Be Rich and Generous. Be sure and follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Larry H. Goins. Facebook.com/Larry H. Goins. Each week, we teach you all about real estate investing in. And whether you want to be an active or a passive investor, we can teach you how to do that. We've taught many. We have books, courses, seminars, coaching, mentoring. We'll walk right beside you and help you and coach you and mentor you through your very first deal or your 100th deal, right?
We do have that available. We
absolutely do. Absolutely. So, Kandas, what are we going to talk about today on this particular show?
What about sellers? What about something to do with sellers? Like,
well, last week we talked all about realtors. Like
right.
If you want to buy a house through a realtor, we talked about dealing with realtors and, things to ask a realtor and things to find out about the property before you make an offer through a realtor. So we're going to talk about sellers this week?
I think so.
Oh, cool. That sounds good.
Like, what are you supposed to ask them?
You start.
Well, what are you supposed to ask a seller whenever you call?
Oh, okay. That's a really, really good
question. Are you
going
to get into, and just to give them maybe a little bit of a teaser, are you going to get into the way that you negotiate with sellers on this too? Is that part of your questions or no?
We might get into that depending on how much time we have. We always seem to run out of time, right?
It's because you talk too much. On talk radio.
Do you suggest I sit here in silence?
No, not at all, because then that would leave me to talk too much.
There you go.
And my job is to just laugh.
So, guys, there's basically two ways to find deals, real estate deals. If you're an investor or want to be an investor, there's on-market properties and off-market properties. Last couple of weeks, we talked about on-market properties listed on the MLS, whether it be, whether it be a HUD house or a VA house or, whatever. It's just listed on the MLS. It could even be a bank-owned property. But those are all going to be listed on the MLS, right?
And we have those
Realtor.com.
shows. Yeah, and we have just 1 second. We have those shows uploaded onto bragradio.com. So if you guys haven't listened to those yet or want to go back and get a refresher, you can find those on bragradio.com.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
now, as you were.
Thank you. Appreciate you. So
I hate when he says that. I can't stand that. It's one of those things like people say you're right. I can't stand when somebody says you're right.
You're right.
I hate it.
Anyway, so we're going to talk about dealing with sellers. Now, the key, if you are going to be buying houses direct from seller, which, by the way, we do a lot of HUD houses. We do MLS houses as well. But, guys, let's face it. The pool of houses that are available from HUD and the MLS has been slowly and steadily shrinking. Right, Kandas?
Oh, if we had like that little sound effect that goes...
Which one?
That one.
It goes how?
That one.
Yeah.
That
It's
was
on
good.
the do the whistle part again. It's on that right there.
Yeah.
It's on the availability is on the decline. Thank you. See, we have a soundboard. It's just not a push button one. You just got to
right.
encourage
There
them.
you go. So we got that going for us. That's gold. Gold, Chad,
Gold,
gold.
Chad, gold. He always makes it better.
So, but the pool of properties, meanwhile,
pool.
back at the ranch,
The
pool
shallow
of properties is shrinking, right?
It's on the shallow end. It is on the
I
shallow end.
remember one month we got 25 or 28 HUD houses in 1 month, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we did get 4 last week or week before last. You know, we get 1 or 2 a week or something like that. But, you know, some of those we even have to throw back. But we're also in multiple markets,
Right.
right?
Yeah, we
So-
go wide.
But with going direct to seller, right? There's a lot of different ways to do that, and we've had several different shows on that, so we're not going to get into all the different marketing methods. But when you're going direct to seller, what you really want to do is look for what's called motivated sellers, right, Candace?
Motivated.
That's right. See, I can't back up from the mic because you're like, I got to keep this thing going.
My whole job is just to entertain. That's all I'm here for.
Yeah, all right. I get it. So anyway, you got to look for motivated sellers, all right? And motivated sellers are sellers who are going to, maybe they've gone through divorce. That's one, right? Maybe they have had a death in the family. Okay, that could be another one. Maybe they've had a job change or loss of a job, right?
So some type of life event has kind of pushed them to be more motivated than what they normally would have been.
Some life-changing event.
Some
right?
life-changing event.
Like, for example, I talked to a lady yesterday, and her husband had just been diagnosed with Parkinson's, right? And she said, I hate to sell this house, but I just really need to sell it. I just got to get out from under it. And she said, I just want somebody to take over the loan. If somebody would just take over the loan, I'd be happy. You know, that's all she really wanted, right? And that's a whole nother show about how to do those kind of deals. Those are called subject to deals, where you take over the house.
Don't get
subject
people
to the
confused. You're
existing
getting people
mortgage.
confused.
All right. So there's divorce, there's health issues, there's job loss, you know, there's being transferred, maybe not a job loss, but you've been transferred, right? Mm-hmm. There's also people who inherited property, right? Kids, grandkids can inherit property, and when that happens, they don't want the property. They just want the money, right? That's all they want is the cash.
The cash.
That's all they care about is the cash, right? So you want to look for people who are motivated sellers, right? Who are motivated sellers. And when you do your marketing correctly, right? When you do your marketing, whether it's Craigslist or bandit signs, those signs that say I buy houses, or whether you do direct mail, you can send out direct mail postcards to people. Some of you out there listening may have even received some of those postcards, especially if you own properties that you don't live in.
Right.
Because one of the keys is mailing to people who are what we call absentee owners. They own a property, but they don't live in that property, right? Mm-hmm. Another one is out-of-state owners. So those are a lot more motivated. Even landlords, right? People who are renting properties, people who have code violations, people who are behind on taxes, people who have gone through probate, right? Mm-hmm. Who are the administrator of the estate, right? Or the personal representative of the state, right? And, there's a lot of different ways, but you want to find those motivated sellers, right? Mm-hmm. Those motivated sellers. And when we come back from the break, we're going to talk not only about the motivated sellers, but we're going to talk about the second thing that you have to look for before you can make an offer on a property. Right, Kandas?
Okay. You tell me. So if you say so, that's what we're going to talk about. But in the meantime, you guys give me a call, 877-LARRY-GO. We can get the Digital Investors Kit out to your email. That's got copies of Larry's latest books, HUD Homes Half Off and Getting Started with Real Estate Day Trading. Both of those are models that we do every day in our office. So give me a call, 877-LARRY-GO, or text the word BRAG to 803-897-6063. Welcome back to Bragg Radio.
Leading the world to be rich and generous.
With
Invest
real
in
estate. Yep, that's how we do it.
There you go.
That's how we do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So today on Bragg Radio, we're talking about dealing with sellers, right? Dealing with sellers, finding motivated sellers.
Sellers. Finding motivated sellers.
That does sound kind of hickish, doesn't it?
Sellers.
So, we're talking about dealing with motivated sellers.
Don't try. Don't try change now.
See, you want to find somebody that has a little motivation to sell their property.
A little motivation.
A little motivation. They need to sell now rather than later, right?
Hey, and you said before in the last segment about the doing direct mail to find absentee owners and things like that.
Uh-huh.
Now,
right.
Anybody's life can change at any given moment. So is that one of the reasons why you think you should be kind of consistent with your marketing efforts for direct mail and things? Because they may get one and everything be all okie dokie, and then you send something the next month and they've had some type of life-altering event.
Well, and that is true. That is true. I mean, when you send out direct mail or you do what's called pay-per-click advertising, you're going to run into people who maybe
explain it, Lucy. Just explain it.
Well, maybe they don't have a situation right now, but they know, hey, in 6 months I'm retiring and I want to downsize, right?
That's a real thing too. A lot of people do that.
That's exactly right. In 6 months I want to downsize, or in 6 months I know I'm going to lose my job, or I know I'm going to be transferred, or whatever it is, right? Whatever it is. But there's a lot of different things that can change based on, based on your situation. So like when we do direct mail, we always mail the same person at least 4, 5, 6 times, right? Let's say, for example, if you're going to do direct mail every single week, you're typically going to probably send it out on Thursday. They're going to get it over the weekend. They're going to call you on Monday, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to send out, let's say you're going to mail out 10,000 pieces. Well, you're probably going to mail out 2,500 a week.
Right? Yeah, that you're talking about like for the month.
Right. So you're going to mail out 2,500 a week. Then on the 5th week, you start all over again. It mails to the exact same person. Now, you could do the same direct mail piece, or you could change it up and do one a little different if you wanted to.
Now, do you think that when you do one that's a little bit different, you just change one thing at a time to see maybe which one gets a better response, or would you go with a completely different mail?
Now you're getting into a whole nother thing about direct mail and increasing your response rate.
Well, you want to table that for another, do we need to pin that for another show?
Well, we can if you want to, but just real quick, what you do is you start out with your direct mail piece and you track your response rate and your conversion rate, and then that is your control. And then you're always changing and tweaking things like adding a picture or changing the type of font, changing the color, making it a glossy versus a one color or two color, or changing the type, changing the headline. And then whenever you start getting better responses, then that becomes your control. And then you're always trying to increase your response rate and your closing rate. Now, response rate is not necessarily the most important thing, because you might be getting a 5% response rate, but you're only closing one deal a month. On the other hand, with another piece, you might get a 1% response rate, but you're closing 3 deals a month, right? In other words, I've seen direct mail pieces that would say, third and final notice, we are trying to reach you in regards to your property. It's imperative that we reach you in the next 3 days. This will be your final notice. They don't know what it's about, right? But you get a big response rate, but you also get a lot of people that call up, what the heck is this about? What are you talking about my property?
Angry people,
right?
Yeah.
So that's a big difference right there. Does that make sense,
It
Kandas?
does help out. Thank you for that.
Good. No problem. Glad to help. So yeah, we talked a little bit about in the first segment about motivation, right? You got to find somebody that's motivated, that needs to move, needs to sell, or has a property that they're tired of either renting or tired of owning, or maybe they just inherited it. Maybe they just came into town and they're trying to settle an estate or something. Who knows, right? So you need to have some kind of motivation there, right? Otherwise, the person would just fix it up, put it on the MLS with the realtor, and wait 6 to 12 months to sell it, right?
Yeah.
But
they're not in a hurry, yeah.
Yeah,
why not?
Exactly. So the second thing you need to look for, right, is deal killers, right?
Deal killers,
right?
You need to go into detail with that.
Well, I am going to go into detail about it. Deal killers, some people call them different things, a deal killer or a condition or something like that.
I got you now.
For example, a deal killer might be, well, I don't really own the house. It's in my grandmother's name, and she passed away, and we didn't have a will. And, I've tried to get an attorney to settle this, but they want $10,000, and it's going to take 6 months. Well, that's kind of a deal killer right there, right? So there's a lot of different deal killers. Probably the most important one is a deal killer of a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle or something like that has to sign off, right? Or even if they don't have to sign off, here's another thing. Even if they don't have to sign off, if they're going to be upset if they sell. In fact, that's one of the questions that we typically ask. Hey, just to get an idea, is there anybody that would, have something to say about or that might be upset if you sell your house, right? That's a great way to respond to that, right? That's a great way to kind of flush that out. Is there anybody that would be upset if you sold the house, right? So there's also title issues. It could be where, somebody else inherited the house, or it could be maybe they got a loan, or it was foreclosed on and they got it back somehow or whatever, right? Could be title issues. Maybe the house is in a brother and sister's name and the brother passed away, but they didn't have a will. So there's a lot of different issues there that might have to be worked out, right?
Okay.
So those can be potential deal killers. Now, some of those can be worked out. For example, some of those can be worked out. You could hire an attorney to do it. Like I've done this before. When, somebody inherited a property and there were 3 or 4 brothers or sisters involved, I actually paid the attorney to be able to clear all that up so I could buy the house, right?
What does something like that cost usually?
It really depends. It depends. I mean, but
it's not going to cut into your deal significantly enough if you run your numbers right that it's going to significantly impede on your profit, right?
It really depends on the deal.
Okay.
It really depends on the deal and how much you're paying for it. I mean, if you're buying the house for $5,000, it might.
Yeah.
Right? It might. So there could be title issues, but I've actually paid attorneys to clear that up, and and I would pay it out of the closing proceeds, right? So
it shows up on the HUD?
Right. And sometimes there's back taxes on a property. That's one of the other things that you always want to ask, a potential seller. Do you know if there's any back taxes or anything on the property? Now, some of them are going to be offended, so you just have to be ready for it and try to be as tactful as you can, especially if somebody is in a distressed situation. You can start out by saying something along the lines of, I don't mean to offend you, but I talk to a lot of people, and sometimes one of the reasons that they need to sell, maybe there's back taxes or liens or judgments or something like that. Do you have anything like that might show up on a title search that would prevent us from being able to buy the property, or that would have to be paid off before we bought the property?
See, and you're not specifically, I hear you're negotiating in that, but you're going around about to ask the question in a more politically correct way instead of just making people upset when they initially answer the phone, which is one of the things that we go into detail in at our 3-day events, right? You go into a lot of detail on the verbiage and the way that you go about asking the questions and conditioning whoever it is you're on the phone with in the most ethical way to get the questions answered without making them mad.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So you guys can give me a call, 877-LARRY-GO. Text the word BRAG, B-R-A-G, to 803-897-6063 for the Digital Investors Kit. On 877-LARRY-GO, you can also get the updated or latest information on where we're going to hold our upcoming 3-day events. You guys give me a call. We'll be right back. Bragg Radio, all about investing in real estate to be rich and generous. Back from commercial break.
You got it. You got it.
So go ahead.
No, you go.
Today, we have been talking about kind of questions to ask a seller when you're on the phone with a seller before you make the offer to kind of get the best information to the information at hand to make the best offer. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So we talked about motivated sellers. If you guys are driving, try not to write this stuff down. You can email info@larrygoins.com, and I can get back to you with any questions that you've got. Or you can go to braggradio.com and just listen to the whole show again.
Right, right. Yeah, we talked about motivation, maybe somebody's getting divorced, health issues, they've been transferred, they've lost a job, had a death in the family, or they inherited the property or something like that. And then we talked about different deal killers, like you said. Like, one of the things I mentioned that you want to ask is, is there a parent, or anybody, is there anybody that's going to be upset if you sell the house?
Yeah, anybody that would be upset.
And you can start out and say, one of the things we've ran into in the past is sometimes there's a family member that might be upset if you sell the house or might have something to say about it. Is there anybody in your family or that you know of that would be upset if you sell the house?
You're very good about politically or asking the questions politically correct.
Well, the whole key is you got to get people to like you
and disarm
and trust
them, right?
you. You got to disarm them, right?
From the very beginning.
Because they have their guard up. From the minute they open the door and you walk in the house, and, you want to build a little rapport with them.
And sometimes they're not really realistic about what they want for the house.
That's true.
They have some type
That's
of
true.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, guys. I don't care what anybody says. If you're in real estate and you're going direct to seller, you need to have a few sales skills. Right?
I agree. Yeah.
There's no question about it. You've got to have some. It's no different than going in the home and selling home improvements or insurance or anything else.
Just the verbiage.
Right.
It's all the changes.
Yeah.
The tonality needs to remain the same. Like you said, because we have to disarm them immediately, and they've probably gotten multiple direct mail pieces, and you don't know how those people have talked to them on the phone, so they could be jaded from those conversations too.
That's so true. In fact, I've got friends, and we have students, and
you have
really
a friend?
hot. Thanks. I do. I have one. Can I count you?
You pay me, so does that really count? I'm just kidding.
Pay you to be my friend.
And I'm in your downline for, for inheritance. So,
Okay.
So you can count me if you want.
Where's that cricket sound effect? So, what was I even going to say?
I don't know.
So, basically, I'm trying to find out where I was here, but
got him all rattled. Did you see that, Lynn?
I know, right? So, but basically, you do need some sales skills. Okay.
Basically, that's the whole point of this conversation.
It's very important that you have some sales skills, right? You don't want to, like, I remember we used to do some canvassing, knocking on doors when we were in the home improvements business. And, we were buying houses also, but I had some young guys out there, like high school guys, and they were canvassing, knocking on the door, and they knew I bought houses, and this young kid, James, he knocked on this door, and the lady came to the door, and she said, he gave his whole little spiel about, ma'am, we're in the area talking to people about doing home improvements. We have special financing available, blah, blah, blah. And she said, Sonny, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to stay here. My husband just died, and I'm probably going to have to sell this house. And he's like, great, how much you want for it? A true story. True story.
You can't make this stuff up.
I know, right? So how do you think that went over?
Not
too good,
no,
right?
Not good.
Exactly. So you've got to use a little bit of build a little rapport with people, get them to like you and trust you, right? Mm-hmm. And it all starts even with the very first phone call, right? Now, first of all, when you're generating leads for off-market properties, right, for motivated sellers, there's two ways you can have those leads come in. Well, there's really several ways. You can have them go to a website and opt in, right, at a website, and that is where you have to be reactive, where they opt in, and then you have to respond, right? But if they're online, all they've got to do is fill out that form, and then they're off to the next web page and filling out another form or calling a phone number, right? Mm-hmm. So if they're online, I suggest you do whatever you can to get them to call you, right? But, you also want to have the opt-ins on your website if you have one. Like, you can check out, LarryBuysHouses.com and see our website and what we do to generate seller leads as well. But you can also have people call. Maybe you're running Craigslist ads. Maybe you're doing direct mail with a phone number. If you're doing direct mail, I don't suggest you put your website on there. You want them to call, right? And there's two different ways. You can have the call go straight to a voicemail, or you can live answer. Now, some people use a Pat Live or something like that to answer, and they go through a little script.
Kind of like a call center.
Right, like a call center, and some of them even use virtual assistants in the Philippines. I don't recommend doing that for seller leads because those are like gold, okay?
And see, and I have a habit of, we put out signs, I buy houses signs, and
you put out a few a couple months ago.
Well, I'm talking about company-wide. Thank you for pointing out the fact that I still have 57 in my car, but, whatever. But I randomly and oftentimes will call when I see other people's signs, call and see what their follow-up sequence is like. So it goes a little bit deeper, too, than just whether they have a call center answer the call or whether they answer it live or whether you just leave a voicemail. There's one number that I called off of a sign that has been popping up on my route, and it goes to a voicemail, and you leave a voicemail, and then they have a call center that will take all those leads and I just hung up. I didn't leave a message. I didn't do anything. I listened to the message and I hung up just to see what was going to happen. And it has been 2 weeks now since I called that number. And initially, they text me right after I hung up saying, "Hey, sorry, missed you." And then a day later, they were texting me again. They tried to call every day for 5 days to get me back on the phone.
Good.
And it was one of those.
They're doing a good job.
Yeah, they did. I like their sequence. And finally, yesterday, it's been 2 weeks now. I finally, a girl called me, and it wasn't the Betty girl, the nice little Betty grandma voice that I heard at first. This was like a call center person. And called me just to follow up on the lead. And I was like, I buy houses as well, and I just wanted to see what your follow-up sequence was. You can take me off your list now.
Wow. You should have let them go through and try to pitch you and try to sell you.
She only wanted to get information to turn over to somebody else. And that's when I told her that I do the same thing.
Right. So maybe she was in the Philippines. Who knows?
If she was in the Philippines, she spoke very good English.
Really?
With slang. Wow. Like Southern.
How y'all doing?
Yeah. If she was in the Philippines, I would have been very, very surprised.
That's funny. So yeah, there's two different ways to do it. You can have it go to a voicemail. Somebody can call you back, or you can have a live answer. I suggest, especially if you're starting out, you want to answer those calls yourself. Maybe you have a full-time job and you can't do that, but have somebody answer those calls. You can get a Pat Live or one of those type of services to do that for you, right? Mm-hmm. You can hire. There's third-party services out there. We can put you in touch with some of those as well that will take those calls for you. But you need to, especially if you're generating online leads, that needs to have a live answer. That's very, very, very important.
People like instant gratification.
Because those leads are like gold. Mm-hmm. Those leads, think about it. If every deal you make $10,000, if you were just wholesaling properties, right? Mm-hmm. If every deal you make $10,000, you never know which call is going to be that $10,000 call.
Never know.
And you might have spent $500 or $5,000 that month on marketing, right? So it's very, very important that you nurture and protect each lead, right? Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Each and every lead. It's gold.
It's gold.
When we come back, I'm going to talk about some specific things that you want to say, both on the phone and when you get to the home. And so that way you'll know exactly what to do.
All right. Before we go, you guys give me a call on 877-LARRY-GO and get the digital kit sent out to your email. There are training links in there for our models where we seller finance, lease option, and also how we day trade. The investors kit also includes the digital HUD Homes Half Off book and real estate day trading book. So 877-LARRY-GO or text the word BRAG to 803-897-6063. Welcome back to Brag Radio. All about investing in real estate to be rich and generous. We want you guys to, one thing that I haven't really mentioned, but it is coming up. They love this song. I'll stop talking so y'all can listen to it.
Jump. I was listening to Van Halen on the way over here.
I'm sure you were. It's like all that runs
And
in your
ZZ Top.
car. So on the lines of, that was kind of an abrupt stop, Chad, with the music there. But on the lines of being generous, we need for you guys to be generous with your blood. I know a few weeks ago.
You're gonna pay
With your blood. With your blood. Not your firstborn, but your own blood. We are doing a blood drive. I mentioned a few weeks ago, Larry was making fun of me, but it's coming up in June.
Why was I making fun of you?
Because it was so far in advance.
Okay, good. I don't want people to think Larry's making fun of them having a blood drive.
You
What's
make
that
fun
about?
of me all the time, but this was just one of the latest things. But I've been wanting to get people prepared, so I've been prepping our office for when we would get our kind of schedule thing for people to sign up to come and give blood. We will have the American Red Cross Blood Mobile out at the office in Lake Wiley, and we would like for everybody that's in listening range to come and join us. So if you are going to be in or around the Charlotte area, Lake Wiley area, or could make it out to the office in Lake Wiley on June 26th, we would love to have you come and be part of our blood drive. It'll be our first one. I'm not sure if we're going to make it an annual thing or not. I would like to, but it kind of depends on you, really. The results that we get, the amount of people that we have come out with what we're able to generate with our efforts, whether they will want to work with us again.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm excited, though. Larry's going to give blood. I'm going to give blood.
Huh?
Yeah, you are.
Huh?
You are.
Okay.
I'm going to give blood.
All right.
We have several other people in our office that are already willing and excited and going to select a slot to sign up. So you guys can email me, info@bragradio.com. I can send you out the details and kind of the time slots. I don't think that they turn anybody away, but they do like for us to have some appointments set up for people to come in and give blood.
That's
June
exactly
26th.
Right. That's awesome.
I think it's 3:30 to 7:30.
And we'll have investor kits ready to give out, too.
Yeah, okay, well, now we will. All right.
Right?
Then. Okay, we will do that.
Donate a pint, get an investor kit.
Let me text Corn right quick.
We've got some there.
No, I know we have some. I know we have some there, and we've got time to get more of those ready, but I don't want to forget that we just told people that.
He doesn't want to be hearing from you on Saturday.
No, but he's used to it. Especially if we have to go out of town for an event or something. It's nothing that he's not. It's nothing that he hasn't dealt with before.
Oh, how well
he
I know.
deals with me all the time.
I know. The feeling.
Easy.
So we're talking about dealing with unadvertised properties, off-market properties, and the questions to ask. You want to look for somebody that's motivated. You've got to look for the motivation. What is their motivation? And you've also got to look for deal killers, right? Motivation might be, divorce, health, job loss, job transfer, probate. They just inherited a house. They're in foreclosure. It's a short sale or they're about to lose the house, whatever. All those are motivation, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's deal killers like parents, grandparents, that would, maybe their name is on the house or maybe, they gave the person the house and, they told, hey, if you ever get rid of this house, you let me know. I want it back, right? And title issues, back taxes, liens, judgments, code violation, maybe the mortgage is too high, whose name is the house in, and all that good stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Those are all deal killers. We talked a little bit about you got to build that rapport. So when you talk to someone, when they call, you answer the phone or you're calling them back. You just want to introduce yourself and be calm. Don't be really aggressive. Hey, I was calling you back about your house. unless that's exactly the way they're talking.
Unless you mirror them, right?
Unless you mirror and match them, right? You want to be like them, right? As much as you can. Talk the same speed they talk and the way that they talk, right? If they're talking real fast and you're real slow, you're going to lose them, right? Because they're like, come on, get on with it, right? Or if you're talking real fast and they're real slow, then
you're going to confuse them.
You're going to sound like a slick salesman to them, right?
You don't want that.
No. So what you've got to do is, hey, you responded to our postcard we sent out about buying houses, and we do help a lot of people. So tell me a little bit about the house you're trying to sell, right? You want to be Columbo a little bit and Andy Griffith a little bit, right?
And what is it that you say? Something about the person that cares the least wins.
Yeah, in negotiating, the person who cares the least wins. That's exactly what I say, Kandas.
I can't always remember you verbatim, but that one's kind of straightforward.
Yeah. In other words, I'll give you a quick example. I had a lady that this was years ago I was dealing with and trying to buy her property, and I think I offered her $3,000 on her house. I mean, she had inherited the house. She had nothing in it. She wasn't even living in it or anything. She was renting it out for $250 a month. It was a small brick house about 4 hours away. So she, I think I offered her $3,000. No, I offered her $2,500 for it. That's right. Because she called back 2 weeks later, and I'm at the drive-thru at McDonald's, right? No, I'm at Wendy's. That's right. I was at Wendy's.
How do you recall the details of this conversation, but you can't recall a conversation that you and I had yesterday?
That's a whole nother topic, okay? Here, I'm getting ready to tell you.
This is years ago.
I'm getting ready to tell you why I remember it was Wendy's.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay? Because she calls up, and I'm sitting at the drive-thru at Wendy's, okay? She calls up, and she says, Larry, you called me last week about my house. You offered me $2,500. If you can give me $3,000 and I can have it by the end of the week, I'll take it. I said, Rochelle, hold on. Yes, can I have a double with cheese with no onions and no tomato? And could I get a Frosty? And can you biggie size that? See, that was way back.
That was way back.
When they did biggie size.
Yeah, and when you only had one flavor of Frosty.
I know, right?
There wasn't a question which flavor.
So, to make my point, the person who cares the least wins. She called me back. She's ready to sell my house. But to me, the most important thing is lunch.
Right then, yeah.
Right then and there, the most important thing was lunch. So I could have pulled out. I could have, stopped. I could have told the person at the drive-thru, hold on. Or I could have rolled the window up and talked to her. But I didn't, right? So the key is the person who cares the least wins, right? So when you get them on the phone, they call, you just want to talk like them, talk slow unless they're talking real fast, right? Tell me a little bit about your house. Well, it sounds nice. Why are you trying to sell? Why are you selling it? And then just let them talk. Just go into it. Let them talk. How soon are you hoping to sell? What have you tried in the past? Have you thought about listing it with a realtor? Why would you not want to list it with? I'm letting them tell me why they're not going to list it with the realtor.
Well, right? What they're doing is giving you clues to help you sell them.
That's exactly right.
They just don't realize it.
That's exactly right. Have you sold a house before? How long have you had the house? How much did you pay for it? Have you had an appraisal? When's the last time it was updated?
And I know you guys are not able to write down all these questions while you're driving, so just send an email to info@bragradio.com or go to bragradio.com and listen to the whole show again.
Exactly. Or listen next week, and we're going to go over them one at a time, step by step by step.
Are we really?
We are. We're going to go over them step by step. I've already got it all planned out for next week. I'm ready.
Wow.
Exactly.
Hopefully it's not going to be as boring as it sounds. Step by step by step.
All right. So yeah, but we're going to go through. I'm going to tell you what to say when you're in the house, how to set the appointment, and then what to say in the house. And if you need some help, if you need me to go in the house with you, I will go in the house with you, and I'll help you. Yes, but I won't half your deal. Right?
Okay, that makes it
Is
better.
that fair enough?
I was like,
if
we are trying to streamline here. What the heck are you doing to me?
Hey,
now
you send that deal to me. I'll go in the house. You can go along with me. I'll close it, make us some money. We'll split the profits, right?
Oh, good
So,
gracious.
Kandas, tell them where they can get a free copy of my book that shows all this stuff.
Real estate day trading and HUD Home Tap offer, both in the investor's kit. along with some other links to our training models. So if you give me a call, 877-LARRY-GO, I can get that out to your email. You can text the word BRAG to 803-897-6063. But give me a call, 877-LARRY-GO.
Make sure to tune in every Saturday for Bragg Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous. Larry and Kandas will show you how to invest in real estate and the many ways real estate creates the ideal investment. It's Bragg Radio. Be rich and generous on News Talk 1110 99.3 WBT.